Hey there, this is Revved Up Reflections for this week. Just going to go over a little bit I know about Spec class racing, which would be like uh, 883 series, Buell series. I guess they have Royal Enfield series now, probably not MV, Moto Guzzi V7, and probably some more that I'm not really aware of. Over the years, when I first started out, I started off in the 883 series, Spec class racing, and then went on to the Buell series. Uh, the Spec class racing is pretty much production-based racers with very limited on the modifications. Like most of them, you can change the ignition module. I know we can change the ignition module, the exhaust system. You can put shocks on it. You can change the dampers in the front end, tires, brake pads. Very internal engine modifications, very limited. Like pretty much none. At least in most of them, you couldn't do any internal engine modifications. No cams. No big bore kits, no cylinder head porting. You had to use stock valve springs. But that being said, some people would call it cheating, but it's not cheating. It's in the rule books there. You have to realize every manufacturer has machining tolerances when they're making parts. So your deck height on one engine might be different than your deck height on the same bike, same year, but just different. In other words, you go to measure the deck height, and one of them might be minus 10 thousandths below the piston, below the top of the block there, or it might be 10 over. Or you measure you plot out the cams, and you find out that same series cams, one set of cams might be different than another one. So of course you'd want the one with the better cams. Now you're not going to know that unless you're actually measuring parts. You could pack the valve springs, and you could do a valve job. In some cases you could change the valve material on the exhaust valves, which they actually did in the 883 series. Stock exhaust valves just didn't last very long. They'd get all deformed from the excess heat from running at high RPM. And they switched to stainless valve. So what was happening, you could go to typically a longer track like Daytona or Road Atlanta before you'd ever see any difference in performance. So that's all on the bike and not necessarily the rider. So someplace tight like Roebling Road in Savannah, Georgia, that's a tight technical track. That's not really a horsepower track. So that's more rider than it is machine versus someplace like Daytona where you're not very technical and you're on the gas using horsepower more than anything else. And you find out, like as a novice, I went to Daytona on 883, and I'm following the rule book exactly because it says you can't do this, you can't do that, you have to use this, you have to use that, you have to use this. But you get there and you've tuned your bike as much as you can. And you get there, and there's guys that are on the exact same bike as you, and you get up on the banking, and they're not inching by you, they're just pulling away from you. And it's not like they got a better drive out of the corner. They're just outright pulling, bike lengths away from you consistently. So you go back to the drawing board, and you realize that, well, you know what? You pull your engine apart in the wintertime, and you look at it and you're like, well, my deck height's pistons 10 or 15 thousandths below the top of the deck. Okay, well, how are you going to fix that? Technically, you're not supposed to cut the cylinders down. You're not supposed to use other than factory gaskets. Not supposed to. And then the rule book comes out that winter and they said, well, they changed the rules. Now it says in the rule book that the pistons can't protrude above the cylinder more than 10 thousandths. So that's no longer stock, meaning you can cut the cylinder until your deck height pistons sit 10 thousandths over the top of the cylinder. So a little bit added compression there. By as much as 20 thousandths. Or the Harleys, 883s, any Harley-based Sportster or whatever. They'll have a problem with oil returning to the tank. So you notice that on like 883 series, after about 4 or 5 laps, the bikes would start smoking and then slow down because the mini sump and the crankcase is filling up with oil because you can't pull all the oil out of the cases. So that's like gripping on the flywheels, and then that excess oil is getting thrown up on the pistons, and the rigs can't handle it, so it starts smoking a little bit. So they came out and said, well, they sent out a technical bulletin of where you could actually cut the technical bulletin was you take the feed gears out of the oil pump, and you basically, I made a fixture, chuck them up in the lathe, and basically cut half, went from a 1/4 inch to an 1/8 inch feed gears, and then had to machine the oil pump body. So you're cutting down the feed oil going into the engine, which helped out a little bit. So that's just in that, but you realize that it's not really cheating because everybody's doing it. Because it's all in semantics, really. The rule book might, instead of saying must not be this, it would say shouldn't instead. And you can argue semantics on that. Well, shouldn't means it must not be. It's 2 different things. I know that I rode a Triumph, the first Triumph race series that they had for the new Triumphs. And either 93 or 94, somewhere in there. A friend of mine had wrecked his bike and wanted to know if I'd go out and ride his bike. So I went out and rode it around, and I thought, man, this thing's a dog. It was a Triumph Triple Trophy Cup, whatever it was, something like that. But that was one spec class. Another one around the same time, they had the Yamaha Seika 2 Challenge, which was Yamaha Seika 2, basically an air-cooled 600 that they were doing. I think that was a pretty short-lived series there. That one didn't last very long. I knew one guy that was doing it, and he would come to local meets there, club level racing. But spec class racing, it's neat. You learn a lot doing it, and it's definitely cheaper than anybody else because you can't do a whole lot of mods to it. Unless you're a big name factory team where you can call somebody up at Yamaha or whatever and say, hey, I need the best set of stock cams you got, or I need the best looking cylinder head you got, that kind of stuff. But you'll learn a lot about tuning, what kind of valve job you can do, 5-angle or radius valve job, which takes a flow bench to figure out. But definitely some neat racing. They tout it as a kind of cheaper way to go, and it is relatively cheap compared to the racing at the national level. with that stuff. Another one I forgot, the Aprilia Cup, which was mid to late 90s, I think, when they came out with that Aprilia Cup challenge. And there have been other ones I know, at least I think anyway. I think Arma had one that was all CB350s, and I know they had like a CB160 or the small bike challenge, which was, you know, very, very limited on mods. You couldn't hack up the frame. You could only, you're limited to what kind of brakes you could use, what size fork tubes, that kind of thing. But neat stuff regardless. I know at one point the Harley pistons are offset, wrist pen's offset to the center of the piston. So if you look at the pistons, the wrist pen looks like it's sitting on the back side of the piston a little bit, slightly. We're not talking a whole lot. And the reason they do that is it loads the piston to keep it from rocking, so you have any excess engine noise due to piston slap. And it does get rid of any rocking noise you have in there, slap, whatever. But it also robs power. So if you took those pistons and flipped them around backwards, so the offset's towards the front instead of towards the back, it negates the effect of that loading. That's just one thing people are trying to do, and evidently it works some. But it's neat series there. And hey, stop that. I think that's all I got for today. We're still moving stuff. Haven't moved any bikes or equipment yet. Getting ready to start that probably this week if it ever quits raining. And then still got to move the other building, and got a funeral to deal with coming up here shortly, and other stuff. It's always something. But anyway, that's all I got. I don't have a lot of flashy pictures up here, or flashy videos, because I'm still learning this stuff, and it's kind of a pain in the butt. I'd rather just sit here and run my mouth about stuff that I think I don't know about. Stuff that I've done that I think that I know about, or can still remember, pretty much. Anyway, you guys take care and have a great week. Appreciate you watching. Everybody take care. It's getting warm outside. And remember to check your tire pressures and scrub your brake pads in. Keep your bike serviced. And if you're just now getting out riding, you know, before you get on it too hard, if you're just now starting to ride when it's warming up, give yourself a few miles so you can remember what you're doing, what it feels like before you go hammering onto it. You don't want to be sliding on cold tires or cold brake pads. Anyway, I appreciate you guys. Take care. Thanks.